America is the greatest country in the world. Thanks for being here. Welcome to our special Politics by Faith, the Crime Crisis. Arinya Zarutska. She was a refugee from Ukraine. Beautiful young woman, 23 years old. She got on a train at 9:46 p.m. on a Friday night. She wasn't dressed like a model, like you've maybe seen in many pictures of her. She was getting off work wearing her uniform from the pizza place that she works at. She got on the train and was looking at her phone, and she sat in a seat. She never looked up from her phone. She doesn't notice the giant black guy standing right behind her in a hoodie. Now, if she did notice him and changed her behavior in any way, then she'd be super racist. And then that black man in a hoodie, he'd turn out to be a university professor who would go on and write a book and give lectures about how systematically racist Americans are, and he can't even go on a train without white girls being scared of him. But she didn't notice him. And 6 minutes after sitting there, that guy stabbed her in the neck, killed her. You should watch the whole video. I would recommend. So you can see what evil looks like. And so your heart can break. Because you see her look up as if to say, why did you do that? And then she looks around and she sees no one coming to help her. And then she realizes she's going to die there. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. How many times do you think that guy was arrested? He's been arrested 14 times. Now, how does race play a factor here? Because someone inevitably says, oh, you're racist. Race comes into the picture here because his skin color told the left that he can't be touched. You can't put him in jail or an insane asylum. His race made him untouchable from any accountability from people in power who instead let him live on the streets because they say that's the loving thing to do. The racism is that many black people could do no wrong, no matter what. The mayor of Charlotte is a 71-year-old, the first black female mayor of Charlotte. Her response when this first came out, she tried to hide it because her election was just a couple days away from when this happened. Her response was that mental health is a disease that needs compassion. The same compassion as cancer. As someone with cancer. This guy, this murderer, he's like a cancer patient. Don't you have compassion for him like you would a family member who had cancer? Do you see why worldview is so important? If you have a worldview that says people are naturally born good and can do no wrong, and we can't hold them accountable because they're black or marginalized in some way, and if we held them accountable, then that would mess up the statistics against black people. It would be disproportionate compared to the size of their population. Then you can very quickly get to a place that this guy, this murderer, was basically a cancer patient and should be treated with love and compassion as anyone with cancer would be. And we let him out 14 times. And of course, he stabs a woman in the neck. It's not just this one guy or this one woman, of course. This happens way too often. Back when I lived in California, this one never made national news. There was a young woman, 24-year-old UCLA student. She worked at a boutique. Brianna Kupfer was her name. And a 31-year-old black man who's been arrested 8 times before for serious charges. He was on bond he was awaiting a trial for firing a gun into a car that had a child inside. And they let him out on bond because maybe the next time he fires a gun inside another car, he'll be lucky again and it won't hit a child. And he went into her boutique that she was working at and stabbed her 46 times. She texted a friend when he walked in that she had bad vibes from this man. But she's been trained, like feminists have been trained in many of the ways, to not listen to her spidey senses because she, a white woman, is racist. All white people are racist, remember? Logan Federico. She was murdered just a couple months ago by a male, who was arrested more than once. How many times do you think her murderer, Logan Federico's murderer, was arrested? Here is Logan's dad at a congressional hearing.
Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Devontae Dickey, who was arrested 39 times, 25 felonies, was on the street. How about that? How good are we doing for our family? How good are you doing for your kids? He should have been in jail for over 140 years for all the crimes he committed. You know how much time he spent in prison? A little over 600 days in 10 years. He's only 30 years old. He was committing 2.65 crimes a year since he was 15 years old, but nobody could figure out that he couldn't be rehabilitated. Well, you'd have to put him in prison to see if he could be rehabilitated. Isn't that the idea of prison? But no, my daughter wanted to be a teacher. She finally figured it out 2 weeks before she was executed.
Stephen Miller said the Democrat Party at every level, judges, politicians, academics, nonprofits, is organized around the defense and protection of the criminal, the monstrous, and the depraved. The more vile the threat, the more vociferously the Democratic Party works to protect and enable it. So I want to go back to Zuritsky. Charlie Kirk, right before he was assassinated, he posted a picture of Arinya in that horrific moment, right after she was stabbed. Is it that picture right there? Like, what did you just do to me? What's happened? And said, America will never be the same. I hope not. And then after, just like the day after he posted that, Charlie was assassinated. That was on a Wednesday. On Saturday morning, the next Saturday, Stephen Miller posted that exact same picture of Arinya again. With no words, just that picture. As if to say, we haven't forgotten about you. What happened in Charlotte to Zuritsky is our George Floyd moment. This is our George Floyd moment, where George Floyd was a career criminal, served 8 jail terms from 97 to 2005, over 20 encounters with police, and died of a drug overdose, while police engaged in a completely lawful, by-the-book effort to restrain someone who's resisting arrest. George Floyd screaming, "I can't breathe," before anyone even touched him. And the left and the media went nuts. Statues, murals, squares named in his honor, everyone taking a knee, and everyone knows the name George Floyd. It was framed, that moment framed as the exemplar of white supremacy, a white police officer killing an unarmed black man who's begging for his mommy, a white cop with total indifference to life killing a black man, like all white people do, who are inherently racist to their core, have benefited from a system of oppression against black people who built this country, we're told. All white people are racist and have to repent of their sins, but they can't. So they have to pay reparations and give black people all the jobs and all the college spaces and anything else they want. Let them out of prison. And you, white person, should be ashamed of everything you are and everything you did and everything your ancestors ever stood for. That's what we were told after George Floyd. Zuritsky is the turning point. This is where we say, enough is enough. 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 Black people, stop killing. Just stop killing. I didn't say stop killing us. I didn't say stop killing white people. Stop killing everything, everyone. Stop killing white people, stop killing black people, stop killing our cities, stop killing your neighborhoods, stop killing the dreams of every black child in every black school in this country. Stop killing people. Stop killing the future of this country. Stop it. Enough. It's over. We are not going to sit back and let you have your ghettos anymore. We're not going to sit back and say, oh, well, that's just the bad part of town. That's where black people kill each other. That's where they litter and destroy and burn and vandalize, and rape and pillage and murder, to the point where no business dare even open up there. No grocery stores open up there. And then we get lectured about how terrible it is that there's food deserts. Well, why are there no grocery stores there? Why are there no stores? The stores are racist? No. You had your Al Sharptons. You had your Jesse Jacksons. You had your chance to do it. They failed. You failed. We're not doing it anymore. Enough of thinking that your way out of this life is be a rapper or a baller. Done. We're done. Either black people are genetically inferior and not capable because they do not have an IQ that leads to a normal life, which I do not believe is true, or you have a rotten culture that breeds degeneracy and failure. That's ghetto culture. And we're not going to sit back anymore and say, oh, well, black people just abandon their kids. No. You're a terrible person if you abandon your children. You're a terrible person if you inseminate a woman and you leave her alone and you leave that child alone. That's bad. That's bad. It should be against the law. At the very least, shamed beyond what anyone could handle. We don't need more programs. We don't need any more lectures. We don't need any, America's so bad and slavery. Wise up, act right. Stop with the death and destruction and shooting and murder and jugs and philandering and sin and depravity and degeneracy. Stop it. Now, someone's going to say, oh, Slater, you're being racist. No, part of it was stop killing. When I say stop killing, part of that I also mean stop killing your unborn babies. I want Planned Parenthood to leave the cities and be replaced with pro-life pregnancy centers that encourage women to keep their babies and helps women raise their babies. That's the opposite of racist. If I were racist, I would be calling for more Planned Parenthoods in the cities. I'm not. Planned Parenthood is killing black babies. They're the ones racist. I want to stop the killing of all people, of all black people, I just want all the killing to stop. Do I need to drive home that Planned Parenthood point again? If I were a racist, I would say, we need more Planned Parenthoods to kill black people. Not what I'm saying. That's what the left is saying. I want all killing to stop. Here's the President of the United States of America from the Oval Office.
We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness.
We have to be vicious just like they are. Okay. How vicious are they? Anthony Jelks, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 6 violent arrests. 6. He was released from jail just a couple weeks ago. This career degenerate got out of prison for the 6th time, raped a 4-year-old. And we know that he raped her because she ended up going to the doctors because she had chlamydia. He's already been arrested just in 2022 for indecent behavior with a 9-year-old. We let him out. What are we doing? Stephen Miller said the Democrat Party's policy of mass releasing monsters onto our streets is a form of political terrorism. This is our George Floyd. This is the turning point. Where George Floyd was this explosion of Black Lives Matter power over every aspect of our country and every aspect of our culture, and through the halls of Congress and schools and everything. This is where we take it all back. The soft on crime nonsense is over. Welcome back to Politics by Faith, the crime crisis. I want to go right to the great Bo Dietl, retired NYPD detective. And he's the host of his podcast, One Tough Podcast. Mr. Dietl, how are you, sir?
Very good. How you doing, my friend?
Good to talk to you. I live in my own little bubble. Pretty safe neighborhood, Bo. Don't have much interaction with law enforcement. But I have a DA friend, and he would tell me stories almost every day of horrible things that he encountered in his DA's office constantly. Constant wickedness, depravity, and horrible things that regular people can't comprehend. Can you help us explain what you've seen in your life and the amount of it, the extent of it, the depth of the crime problem in our country?
Well, I was a New York City police officer and detective during the 1970s, 1980s. My last case was the Palm Sunday massacre, 10 dead, 8 children shot in the head. I've seen a lot. And one of the real big cases was a Roman Catholic nun that was raped and sodomized. They carved 27 crosses in a convent. And my partner, Tom Collar, and I, on our own, got one in Chicago, one in New York. And I've seen it all. And since I retired from the police department, I've been running my private investigations company and security company, and I continuously see it over and over again. But to talk about the actual crime problem, you know, it's really changed tremendously. I call it the George Floyd effect. What happened with George Floyd was a horrible thing. No man should die and all that. And as far as what was utilized after the fact, where they used this thing to riot, rob, assault, and murder, and use this thing as the calling card as far as what their crimes that they were doing, and never to be prosecuted. Any of these people, they talk about non-prosecutions. This is the biggest problem that I've ever seen in my lifetime, where people got away with rioting like this, destroying property, setting fires, and assaulting people. Now, all of a sudden, after 9/11, the cops everyone loved. We loved the police department. Now all of a sudden people hate the cops. They're pigs, they're this, they're that. And we see it even with ICE. ICE trying to do their own work, and they're being spat upon, thrown at, shot at, and all that. And we just saw even with my friend who I knew, Charlie Kirk, when he's trying to talk and bring people together, have communication with each other, and the left side and whoever's the attack, they attack. Now they want to kill. They want to kill. It used to be the liberals were like the peaceniks. Now the liberals are becoming the violent ones. And on the streets of, I got to say, right here in New York City, we have an influx. When we had the border that was wide open for the last 5 years before Trump came back, we don't know who came through our southern border. My biggest fear is Al Qaeda's alive. They have training camps, and I guarantee you, they're in our country. We're talking about regular crime out there. I'm talking about terrorist attacks again, and I think it's going to happen very soon. And a lot of people don't realize also they had training camps in Afghanistan by Al Qaeda. Who's in our country? The border is wide open. We don't know who, what, where. I'm frightened for my grandchildren, my children, and the people of America, because it's going to come and it's going to happen. And it's going to be, I think, widespread attacks. There's some talk about them going after police and emergency service people. And there's could be a very well orchestrated attack in our near future. That's not even counting the criminal aspect that has come through from Central America and all over the world through our southern border. We are on the verge of a real terrible crime epidemic from all sides.
Yes. Oh man, it's coming from every direction. What do you say needs to be the reform? So you got the police, you got the prosecutor, you got the judge. And then the judge lets these guys out for the 15th time, for the 40th time. Who's most accountable for that breakdown where someone's released 40 times?
All the above. We had a Governor Andrew Cuomo, who was our governor here. He released now every cop killer. You had this Joanne Chesimard just died. Good riddance to her. I was around when the Black Liberation Army, the BLA, was killing cops. One year there was 11 cops killed, one year 13. They were just shooting them in the back in the radio cars, and she was part of that. She assassinated a state trooper in New Jersey. Then she escaped from jail, and our friend there, Fidel Castro, that pig, gave her a political asylum in Cuba. She just died. Good riddance. They want the Chicago Board of Education Union wants to honor her. Honor her for what? For killing a New Jersey state trooper. This is the mindset of the liberal side. Also, we have the fact that in New York State and around this country, they have this bail reform. Then they have the age. Oh, kids 15, 16, 17 years old shouldn't be prosecuted. They're the ones that are shooting. We had a 13-year-old gang member killed, little boy, just the other day, killed by a 16-year-old gang member. But the guy who's running now for mayor of New York City, Zohar Mandami, this liberal socialist piece of crap, he wants to disband the database. He wants to defund the police. How do you defund the police when crime is so rampant? And these crime statistics, especially in New York City, when someone gets robbed, they downgrade it to grand loss. These games are being played. Crime is not done. And it ain't perception. People, perception. You walk around New York City, you see non-perception. Also, you have these motorized bikes, these battery-operated bikes, running people down all over the city. It's like a third world. New York City used to be the greatest city in the world. And now we're on the brink of probably, I'm trying for it not to happen, but probably electing a socialist communist. And he's openly said it. He's anti-Semitic. And he also says that he wants to defund the police more. How do you defund the police when the police are out there? Then you get judges who have the right to set bail and they don't do their job. And then you have a city council. You can't use a headlock. How do you arrest someone without grabbing them? A diaphragm law, every law against cops. Now they can actually sue the police officer doing their job. And the guy has a house on Long Island. He's paid for his mortgage and all that. And now he could be sued and they could take his. So why do you want to be a cop? Why do you want to get involved? Yeah, crime's down because cops are not being proactive. What they are, they're reactional now. They come after the crime is committed. We used to go into the where the bad guys are and get the guns off the street. So the whole world has turned. Thank God for our president, but he's fighting such an uphill battle. And half the country are against President Trump, and half the country is against law and order. Half the country are so stonad, that's an Italian word, stupid, as far as what they want for their children, for their family. My biggest thing is public safety and to support police.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes. What do you say to the accusation, Mr. Tito, that you're racist? All this stuff is racist. Violence is a social construct. You're just attacking minorities, etc.
You know, I mean that's a real good comeback with the liberals. Racist. Well, let's look at the reality. Who's committing the crimes? I mean, I think it's 89% of the violent crimes are committed by African Americans. I'm sorry. This is the facts. That's not racist. That's factual. If anything is, we have to be able to get these young kids that are born with no father, as far as the family structure with no father, and they know nothing else but watch these punk rap stars and all this degeneration on the videos, music videos of selling drugs and sex and all that. This is the men's mindset that they have, not with a good father and mother and a family structure. I think family structure is destruction of our young kids growing up. If you don't have a family, a father and mother, and you don't have a family, you don't have a family structure.
That's it. Bo Dietl, NYPD detective. One Tough Podcast is the podcast to get more Bo Dietl in your life, which we all need. Bo, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and keep spreading the word, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your many years of service.